I have a great healer right now coming on. Her name is Gina Castellano. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Char.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm really glad to be here.
Well,
How are you doing?
I'm great, and it's my pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being on our Halloween special. I just don't want you to freak out when you see all the pumpkins and the lights when you watch this on camera. So when you watch it at home. But this is, so you're a shamanic healer, and
Mhm.
you work with the body talk system and
Yes.
advanced feng shui. Tell us about this.
Well, my practice is centered around therapies that help people to discover and create the life that they truly desire. And one of the most important parts of that is to work with people to help them uncover and clear trauma that limits their physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
Oh.
And as you know, Char, body, mind, emotion, spirit are all intricately linked. I mean, there's
Right.
an interweaving of all those energies. And when conditions pull one strand, it affects the whole tapestry of our lives. So when we talk about a condition that could pull a strand, it might be a physical illness, it might be an emotional trauma,
Or
it could
stress.
be stress, absolutely, a major life change. So, mainstream therapies have pretty much acknowledged the body-mind connection. We know that stress can lead to heart disease. We know that chronic pain can lead to depression. But the more traditional approaches tend to compartmentalize. With the processes that the alternative healing processes that I and many others work with,
Right.
we're able to address all those interconnected energies. And so the modalities that I work with, like the body talk system, like new decision therapy, and shamanic healing, can address all levels of the being to restore wholeness.
So what is the body talk system? What exactly do you do?
The body talk system is a very comprehensive protocol that addresses body, mind, spirit. We can even go into the astrological chart, past lives. We use kinesiology to communicate with the innate wisdom in the body, which the body contains all the information.
It does.
Every experience, every emotion, every thought, every trauma. And so by communicating with the body, we can find out where the imbalances are, what the source of those imbalances are, and we can clear them and restore the whole system to balance.
Okay, so for those of us, kinesiology meaning when you put your arm out and the body tells you if you're strong to it or weak to it.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
so how do you do that? Like if some
Well, excuse me, go ahead.
No, go on.
Well, there's a number of different ways. You're familiar with muscle checking.
Right.
Where we test certain key points on the body that help us to determine if there's a trauma, when it occurred, who was involved, what life-negating decision we made based on that trauma. And then we're able to do whatever the innate wisdom in the body guides us to do to clear it. Sometimes we use the eyes.
Oh.
The eyes are the windows to the soul. So it's whatever we are guided by the innate wisdom of the body of the person.
And so let me see if I get this right. Your goal is to take all the negative that could be interfering in somebody's well-being or good health and get rid of it all.
Yes, and here's the real important part of this. So much of the trauma we've experienced was so painful and so frightening that the protective mechanism is to suppress the trauma or to
Oh.
minimize it in order to go on with life. So when we can use kinesiology, we can actually bring to consciousness those traumas that are most negatively impacting our lives that we're not even consciously aware of.
How do you bring those out? Do you psychically do it, or do they say it? How do you do that?
Again, the body guides us. We test certain points, and in that way we can find out when the trauma occurred, again, who was involved. And you know what? We start out by finding out what is something in a person's life that seems to be causing difficulty over and over again. And in spite of their conscious attempts to clear it, they can't do it. That's because they don't have access to that consciously. So based on the intention in working with a client, we can then use kinesiology to bring this trauma to conscious awareness and clear it.
Can you give us an example of what somebody you helped and what you did?
Yeah, I can give you a really simple example. A woman came to me in her early 40s wanting to improve her relationship with her younger sister. It had been a lifelong problem for her. She described it as feeling competitive with her younger sister and would find herself angry if she felt that other people were giving her younger sister more attention or paying more attention to her. And so we used a process that's like Body Talk that's called New Decision Therapy. And my clue was, of course, there was some issue with the sister, something about her sister that she needed to forgive, because forgiveness is the ultimate healing tool. And so I started to test. We knew it was the sister. I started to test for age at which something happened that caused a problem between the two of them. Her body tested. The trauma occurred at 6 years old. So I asked her, what happened when you were 6? She thought about it. She said, the only thing I can think of is that my sister was born. And then I knew where we were going. This woman, this child, she'd been an only child, all the attention until, yes. And then her sister was born. So I tested for her state of mind and emotion at 6 when the baby was brought home from the hospital. She tested weak. That meant trauma. Then I asked her to go back to before the baby was brought home. We tested her. She tested strong, no trauma.
Fantastic.
Yes. And so she was kind of shocked at this information, but also relieved to know that that had been the issue, that she was still kind of reacting to her sister as if she were that 6-year-old little girl.
That's fascinating. And
who had
no, go on.
I just say the 6-year-old who had enjoyed all the attention, and then it was suddenly interrupted by this.
It makes sense. It makes good sense. And so now are they friends, and she forgave her, and it's all good?
Well, yes. We talked after that about how now she could begin to establish a relationship with her sister from a 40-year-old in the present. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's so wonderful. And so how do you integrate traditional, like your alternative healing method with traditional Western medicine?
Well, I think all modalities have their place. I believe that we can work with them to complement and augment. For example, talk therapy is very effective, and nothing can replace being able to confide in someone who you feel has positive regard for you no matter what you tell them about
Right.
yourself.
Right.
So I incorporate talk therapy, which is a more conventional method, with the alternative modalities that I do. I also encourage people to go to their general practitioners for checkups, for blood chemistry analysis. I think everything can work together.
And do you feel like most people are holding things inside of them that could cause them health issues?
Absolutely. I think every thought, every emotion, every experience is held in the body until we consciously are able to become aware of it and to clear it.
And you're able to do this for people. How can people get a hold of you?
I have a website,
And
which
what is that?
It's ginacastellano.com.
Is it on the bottom of the screen? Okay, it's on the bottom of our screen. Okay, and can people call you and do this over the phone or Skype or in person?
Yes, we can Skype, we can do it over the phone, we
And
can
then,
do
of
it in
course, there's a
person.
fee for this, which, of course, you should have a fee for this. And
Yes.
so, so if they go to your website, is there a telephone number as well that you want to give out?
Yes.
What is that?
That is 832-264-3134.
Say that one more time.
832-264-3134.
Well, you're absolutely fascinating, and I can tell how special you are and how this work really comes from your heart. And I can tell that you have, I know you don't have an ego, I can tell, but I know that you probably help many, many people, and I so appreciate you being here. I hope that we'll get to see you again.
Thank you so much, Char, and bless you.
God bless you too.